think our world has become increasingly unstable, unequal, and unsustainable. Global population has doubled since 1974, and today there are 8 billion people living on our planet. While population growth has slowed, at the current rate, we should reach 9 billion in the next 15 years. It's clear how important sustainable agriculture is and will be to our survival. Welcome to Sustainability Unplugged. Make sustainability happen. Hello, I'm Andy Hodges, and welcome to this first episode of Sustainability Unplugged. Look, when I was asked to talk about the business of sustainability in agriculture, I thought I knew exactly what it was. And the more I talked about it, I realized that I had no clear idea what sustainability actually is, and if we all have a common understanding, what it means in terms of business. In fact, your business. Do we really understand the need for our businesses to be resilient and our business footprint to be traceable? Is compliance part of our DNA? How does it affect our livelihoods? How important is climate change, diversity, data, interoperability, and AI? So through Sustainability Unplugged, I will go on a journey of discussion and investigation with the people that are at the forefront of sustainability and hear their stories, experiences, and the lessons, but I'm taking you along with me to understand in the most logical way for both you and me what sustainability means, who is involved, where is it happening, and how we make sustainability happen. So in this first episode, I thought I'd share some, but not all, of the sustainability issues that we will be exploring in more depth in future programs of Sustainability Unplugged. Okay, I started at the beginning. My first question was to Liam Brody, the CEO of COSA, where I asked Liam to help me understand what exactly is sustainability in terms of agriculture.
It's a really simple concept. Sustainability is making sure that we have what we need today without compromising what we need tomorrow. It's a concept we've all learned since the early days. It doesn't just need to be applied to food and agriculture systems. Here's the concept. As a kid, you learn that it is not sustainable to only eat sweets and candy all the time, every meal. You know that will not lead you to a long, healthy life. It's not sustainable. It's a simple concept. You know that if you're driving a long distance and you need fuel for that ride and you have very little and you don't put more fuel into your vehicle, you know that it is not sustainable. You know that if you're trying to make a phone call and you have very little battery left and you don't charge it, it is not sustainable. It's the same in food and agriculture. If we don't pay farmers a fair price, if we're deforesting, ultimately it is not sustainable. It's the same concept. In order to make sure that we have what we need today, we can't compromise what we need tomorrow.
All right, that sounded pretty simple, but I'm sure there's more.
Absolutely. There's so much more. Sustainability is a simple concept, and it's at the heart of the transformation that's needed in food and agriculture right now. In order to be able to have the food and agricultural system that we need to produce enough food for a growing planet, to be able to produce food during a changing climate, we need to invest in sustainability. But investing in sustainability isn't enough. In order to be able to successfully fight the climate crisis, to battle growing inequality, we need to make sure there's evidence. We need to make sure that what we're doing is measurable, because when we can measure it, we can watch change over time. And that's why in order for sustainability to truly matter, we need data to be centered in the middle. Data will help unlock our understanding, our ability to improve over time, and to measure that performance and that change over time. Because climate and inequality are such fast-moving issues, we must know whether we're actually making progress, and we need to align resources around that progress we're making.
And suddenly I'm beginning to see that this is more complicated than I thought. Welcome back to Sustainability Unplugged. I'm Andy Hodges. Now, before the break, I mentioned that we would be giving you a taste of what to expect on future shows. And one thing I really wanted to know more about was livelihoods and how addressing sustainability affects the livelihoods of people, especially farmers and producers. Sustainability in agriculture is at its core about people, right? I asked Jessica Mullen, Director of Management Systems Committee on Sustainability Assessment, COSA, what exactly livelihoods is.
Understanding livelihoods is really about understanding the economic viability and social justice issues of farming systems. And so what that means on the economic side is that ensuring farms are both productive and profitable. And on the social side, it means a handful of different things. Both that there are systems in place to ensure that producers are food secure and have land tenure, that their health and safety is being protected, and that vulnerable and marginalized groups like women, youth, workers have opportunities to grow and thrive in the production systems that they're a part of. And a livelihood is considered sustainable when those economic and social things can happen without undermining the natural resource base or creating harm to the environment. It's multidimensional in nature. And I think companies have really struggled with, what about livelihoods are important? How do we tell if we've improved a livelihood? Because there's so many factors that can contribute to somebody's life being improved because they're a member of a supply chain, yeah? So it could be, everything from the economic conditions to environmental conditions to social engagement within the supply chain.
I then asked Jessica, how can we show that sustainability has an impact on livelihoods? How do you manage this?
Without standardized content, you're going to have data that's all over the map, quite literally. So, trying to piece together disparate data streams from different projects, measuring things in different ways, it's going to be a nightmare. So it's best to have one kind of standardized data set that meets global best practices, that incorporates the best of science as we understand it now across a variety of really important themes. So resilience, climate, profitability, education, some of the really big sustainability challenges of the day.
Okay, so there's more to discuss on this topic, and I'm really looking forward to investigating it further on Sustainability Unplugged. Now, over the last few years, data, how it's acquired, analyzed, and managed have become topical and critical. Data in sustainability, I understand, may be no different. The show will open discussion into understanding the links between the quality and agility of data and decision-making. Who knew? On Sustainability Unplugged, we will dig deeper for explanations about the relevance of data across supply chains.
When we are talking about agile data, the most important element or level that we often overlook is the farmer. Using agile data to inform the supply chain. And when we talk about supply chain, what are we talking about? We are talking about the pre-production, production, and post-production. So when we talk about pre-production, we are talking about the generation of better seed. You need data. We are talking about fertilizer. You need data. We are talking about mechanization. You need data. When it comes to production, when to plant, how to plant, and what to plant, you need data. When to harvest, which is post-harvest, you need data. Transportation, right down until it reaches the consumer table. Agile data support all this chain so that all the decision makers within the value chain can make a decision at the right time.
And you can expect to hear more insight and input about the future of data from the likes of Richard Caldwell, Senior Program Officer from the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation.
Data collection is getting very expensive, and it's not ever going to get cheaper. The price of talking to households, especially in Africa, is largely driven by fuel prices, and agile data approaches are trying to use technology to lower the cost of those surveys. And the lower the cost, then the more data that we can collect. The more data we collect, the more opportunity we have to more fully understand what's happening, how communities are reacting, how individuals are benefiting from the investments we make. So these agile data approaches are really kind of the future of data collection. They're not going to ever replace face-to-face, but they're one more tool in the toolbox, if you will, about how we can collect data and how we can do it more cost-effectively.
And suddenly I'm beginning to see how accessible data is important in making sustainability happen, and a factor that appears to contribute to the quality of life. Experts will be able to tell us more about the producers and what the discussions are around this. Here's Juan Esteban Orduz, President Colombian Coffee Federation and Chair World Coffee Producers Forum. This is what he had to say.
Of course, producers don't want handouts. What producers want to have is to be able to produce their coffee with the right conditions, get the right price, and also have the right conditions for their life and to improve, and more importantly, to prosper. We've been working on this conversation about prosperity with compared to living income, compared to whatever you want to call the situation that bring farmers to a better life. We believe clearly that we need to create a structure working as a value chain to make sure that producers can have an upwards trending life, so that they will be better off, say, the kids better off than the parents, the grandkids better off than the kids. And that's very important. It's not just about taking people out of poverty. That has to be done, but we cannot stop there. We need to make it happen. That also includes something very important. We need to work together, from producer to the cup of coffee, to the consumer even, in creating those right conditions. Situations like trying to get producers to put into producers standards that are impossible to comply and punish them because they are supposed to be alleviating a climate crisis that they did not create is not only not fair, is not even constructive. So the way we should be doing is we should have the work positivity or constructivity in every policy, every action we take when it has to do with producers. That means, do we want for certain chemicals not to be used? Fine. But they are key for production. Those chemicals do not come from producing countries. They are fabricated and they are approved by developed countries. So if not that, what can be done? If you don't buy the coffee from a farmer because of deforestation, because of certain chemicals or any other reason, what he or she will do is just switch to something else. And we need to make sure that coffee farmers, we like the coffee, we think coffee is very important. Millions of families live off coffee. And we need to make sure the next generation can continue producing coffee, not just for the sake of coffee, but also for the sake of the social implications of coffee production and coffee cultivation in the world.
We will unpack the key issues around the conversation on prosperity.
How do we unlock solutions for prosperity, particularly focused on smallholder farmers, those farmers that are facing the most challenges in terms of extreme climate change, increasing cost of production, and the lowest value captured at farm level globally.
Okay, so I'm throwing all these buzzwords at you, but let's remember at its core, sustainability is about people and communities. In future programs of Sustainability Unplugged, we'll be talking to farmers themselves.
As a farmer, I am encouraged by the shift towards the farmers, and that is for both male and female farmers, inclusion and the representation at the table when discussions on matters of agriculture, discussions on farming and farmers are the agenda. For too long, it feels as if we have been unfortunately sidelined or even excluded. I know there's still a long way before we reach a better balance, but it is exciting to finally hear more and more about the idea of data being shared or passed back to us, for example, and the opportunity for us as farmers to have a say and to contribute to debates, to discussions and decisions that will inevitably affect our planet. As first-hand custodians of land, crops, animals, and essentially the quality of food and the ultimate health and well-being of people, we are proud to be able to participate more actively in this idea of sustainability.
So clearly my journey, which I thought was a simple one, is more complicated, intricate, and interesting than I ever thought. From farmers, producers, to businesses and governments, to consumers, from social, economic, and environmental issues to supply chains, dialogue, and policy. Join me live as we embark on this journey together. I want to make us all, including me, understand sustainability and exactly what it is, how we can all make it happen, its impact in agriculture, and of course, on the bottom line. We have a lot to talk about in our future programs, which will be coming to you live and online. Sustainability Unplugged. Let's make sustainability happen. I'm Andy Hodges. I'll see you soon. Goodbye, and please, you all be safe.
Thank you.